World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. As always, I'm super excited to be in this space to share, to inspire, to impact, as well as highlight these moving stories that we share with our guests that comes on every Tuesday night. I hope that you all are centered and you had an amazing day on purpose and are ready to tune in to tonight's show. Like all the other nights, tonight we have a guest that will leave you all leaning into gratitude. Because when you hear her story and you recognize how unstoppable she is, it's not because she didn't have failures. It's not because she didn't have setbacks, but it's because she allowed her failures and her setbacks to motivate her. Also, if folks are not aware, April symbolizes or brings awareness and now acceptance to autism. Today, I'm wearing the color green intentionally as well, because green is one of the colors that represents autism. We have so much stigma in our society around folks with disability. And also because of the misinformation and the lack of knowledge, we tend to put those folks in a box. And rightfully so. They're special and they're human beings that ought to be treated with love, respect, and dignity. Autism is a developmental condition that affects patients. It affects their ability to communicate. It affects their ability to even function like a normal human being. Today, this condition affects over 54 children in every one throughout the US since 2020. So tonight, without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guest. She's a mother. She's a wife. She is the CEO of Gifted One Princess, that's giving voice to the nonverbal. This is exclusively an online store that focuses on autism and autism because this is dedicated to her children. This is her legacy. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome our lovely guest, Sue. Sue, it's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. What an introduction.
It's well deserved. It's well deserved.
Thank you.
So I never normally try to get into introducing my guests, I always ask my guests to tell us who you are. So why don't you do the honors?
Ah, you did it already. Well, my name is Sue. As she mentioned before, I'm a wife and a mom of three boys, two of which are on the autism spectrum. Um, Everything that I'm doing, motivation, inspiration, is coming directly from my kids. I started the business because of them. I wanted to be a voice for them. Well, one is nonverbal, so I'm always being a voice for them. I'm a great advocate for them, and everything started with them as the foundation, and I'm just building on it. Yeah.
Awesome. I talked about your resilience briefly when I introduced you. Um, Autism is often overlooked, and it's also very difficult for parents and loved ones to come to terms when their significant other is struggling with autism. And
Mhm.
oftentimes it's just that they don't have the right information. And this child is oftentimes not given the attention they deserve for them to be diagnosed at an early age so that they
Mhm.
could help that they deserve.
Right.
And I think one of my main reasons for having you here tonight, it's not only because this is dear to me, but it's also because we want to share information. And we want to shed some light to let folks know that your disability, you're not your disability.
Right.
And we could rise beyond that. So, why don't you walk me through what it was like? Because you mentioned two of your sons. Your oldest son, he's also on the spectrum, but he's high functioning. And then your
Right.
other son, he basically depends on you guys for his ADLs, right? So why
Mhm.
don't you talk to me about when you first found out that your son was on the spectrum?
When I first found out about autism, I mean, it wasn't new to me. I knew of autism, but of course, when it hit my family, it was more like shock, confusion, in a way, sad. I started blaming myself. What did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong in the pregnancy? With my first son, it was really more of a shock with him because this was a child that started doing everything at an early age. I mean, by 9 months, he was up and walking, and he didn't creep. That wasn't his thing. He tried it one time, got up and looked at his knees and said, no, he didn't do it. He was talking in sentences by 11 months. Like he would always every day talk about, they used to call him Chicken Little because he would say, I want rice and chicken every day. So he spoke, and his vocabulary was crazy. He was spelling the biggest words at one and a half. It was more like people were telling me he's gifted. So all of a sudden, about 18 months, we noticed that he's changing a bit, like his social skills and communication. I figured, okay, he's the only kid in the family. Maybe he just needs to be around other kids because he wasn't around many kids. So we put him into daycare, and everything was going fine, but we still see the regression going on. And we had a meeting with a social worker at the daycare. She said to us that, he's starting to hit, and he's not playing like he should with the other kids, and we're worried about what may be going on. So I said, okay, what do we do now? So we continued to watch him. I remember it was in October. It was raining that day and it was cold when she called me. This is 2 weeks after the initial meeting. So we didn't do anything. We didn't set anything in place. We didn't have anything done. Like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to tackle it. She called me and she said, you have to come and get your son. I said, is he sick? Immediately something happened. What's wrong with him? She's like, no, like this is his last day. You got to come and get your son. So I got to the school, and On my way there, I call my husband. I'm boo-hooing. I'm like, what's going on? They kicked him out. I thought we were gonna work something out. Is this how we're gonna deal with this? I get there and she's explaining to me that, he's pushing other kids and it's not safe. And he's not using his words anymore. So, as a mom, I'm hurt, but I also a mom on the other end, like I wouldn't want another child hitting my son or pushing my child around. So I know safety became a concern. And I just started blaming myself and feeling sorry for myself, feeling helpless, hopeless. And, I took a day and just cried it out. And then I said, you know what, this is not going to help. I went ahead and scheduled an appointment at the children's hospital. And I got in the psychology department, got him tested, and she came back and she said, he has ASD. He's on the autism spectrum disorder. And I'm like, what are you talking about? My child was doing all this. I start going back to all the things he was doing. I'm like, what are you really talking about? And she's like, yes. And then I learned about regressive autism, and that's pretty much what it was for him. He just went backwards as if he was just aging in reverse. I didn't take just that one opinion, of course. I went further. I got more testing. I went to Yukon at this time, met with their psych department, but this testing was more intense because it was over like 3 different sessions. They watched him in different environments. It wasn't just filling out paperwork. It was them putting him in different environment and see how he acts and everything. And came back with the same diagnosis with ADHD added on to it. Again, I started feeling sad and start as the mom blaming myself about, what did I do wrong? What could I have done? And how can I fix this? And I said, you know what? This is not how it's going to work. We're going to get to the bottom of this. So I started doing more research, reaching out to people in the community and even the board, um, talk to the school system. And with the diagnosis now, with the pediatrician and everything, we were able to enroll him into pre-K. But he was in a special ed pre-K classroom. After about 4 months of being in that classroom, he was like, back to himself. He was eating all the foods again, using the bathroom, talking. Everything was just normal again. And I learned that that was easier for him because he already had it. So they pretty much just retrained the brain to do it. And he spent pre-K in special ed, but that was the only time he's been in a special ed classroom. He's had paraprofessionals with him all along, but he never needed that. He struggles with, communication and social skills a lot. But today he's gonna be, graduating high school honors. All 4 years he's been on honors, and he's in his trade. He's in a trade high school, information system technology. He's doing IST, and he's graduating in June with honors. And he currently takes classes at the community college also. So he's taking college courses and he's finishing up high school. He works. He's almost a fourth degree black belt. He teaches Taekwondo to younger kids. So my 5 year old, he's now an instructor to my 5 year old. So everything that I was told he wasn't gonna do, wouldn't be able to do, he's done it. He's defied all the odds. He's doing it. I am so proud of him. Like it's unbelievable how he pushed himself and seeing how determined he is, how he pushed himself. That's one of my biggest motivator because he just does it. If you tell him he can't, he's gonna do it. So that led me now to my second son. I had a lot of complications with that pregnancy. About 4 months in, I had a prolapse uterus. I almost lost him, and they had to do a procedure to help him stay up in the uterus. They said I had to be on bed rest. I had to keep the cerclage, I think it's called, inside to hold him up. But let me tell you about my God. Okay, this boy head was so big growing. It's so big. Like he just had this big head. Every ultrasound, I'm looking at his head like, come on now, seriously? Where's his body? But this was God's plan. That's what he needed. His big head kept him in my womb. We didn't need that mesh and guard to hold him up. He was able to hold himself up. They took it out after 2 months and he did just fine. He grew in his head now. He got a little head now, but it's amazing with my second, with my second son. Right away, about around the age they would start sitting up around 6 months or so, you immediately knew something was a little off. I could tell as the mom, he wasn't sitting up, he wasn't trying foods when it was that time. He wasn't walking. He didn't walk until almost two. I even had to do some neurological testing. They tested to see if I had a stroke in vitro, um, and other things that may be wrong with him. And one of his foot was kind of inverted. So they put correction in his shoes, like insert in his shoes. It still took him a while to walk, and everything was just slow for him. But when it came to my second son, it was a little easier to deal with. It was harder, but I knew I needed to get on it. I know I needed to find the resources because he needed more help and a different kind of help. So birth to three came into place really quickly. He too went right into the special ed system, and he continued all the way through. He's now in ninth grade. He's in a special ed program at the high school, but he's doing great. He's nonverbal but very smart. He he reads, he understands, receptive language really well. He's come a long way. I mean, food wise, no. He eats the same thing day in, day out. Oatmeal, oatmeal, oatmeal. Never offer me oatmeal,
See?
okay? If I ever come to your house, don't offer me oatmeal. But it's amazing to see like the difference between both kids. Like no two kids on the spectrum are alike. Because you have one son over here, the other one over there, two totally different people. Their needs are different. It's a lot of work. Having a 14-year-old, I still have to bathe him. You have to dress him, making sure his hygiene is proper. Everything about him is on point. So it comes with a lot of challenges, but that's pretty much how it was for me, and what led me to just keep pushing.
Wow, that is a powerful, miraculous story, right? And I'm so happy that you said, when you talk about God, and I think I have to really underscore your perseverance in all of this. Because even after your first child and you found out that he was on the spectrum, that did not deter you. You went back and you had a second child.
Mhm.
Talk to me about how your husband really handled all of this.
Let's talk about my
Curious.
husband.
I'm curious to know
So
that.
my husband actually wanted another child. I mean, granted, he has a daughter. So I have a stepdaughter that's older than the boys. He wanted another child. So my second was more like my husband wanted that one. So um, he's very supportive. This I couldn't do by myself. My husband is what I am not. He has more patience. He sees things a little differently than I do. I could be in a meltdown thinking I'm handling the meltdown, handling the situation. And here he comes out of nowhere, neutralizes it in like 30 seconds. And I've been at it for like 30 minutes. But he's really good with the boys, and he has a way with words and calm, and he loves on them. He gives them a lot of hugs, a lot of love. He's not afraid to say I love you. And our kids are very affectionate, and I feel like it's something that not because they are autistic, it's what you show them and what you give
Yes.
them from a young age. My oldest, no eye contact. He will talking to him, but the second one, that's nonverbal. He will stare you right in your eye, and he shies away from contact. But if he's comfortable with you, he'll let you hug him. He'll let you come in his space, and it's hard. But my husband is really a backbone. I couldn't do it by myself. I know with the third son, because we didn't plan on having any more, he was a big surprise. He was kind of withdrawn in that pregnancy, and I think it's because he blamed himself for the boys and the difficulties that we were having already. So when he found out that we were pregnant, besides asking me how it happened, I'm like, you really want that lesson? But he came around after, but he was really withdrawn, and I didn't understand. I felt like I went through most of that pregnancy by myself, and I didn't understand it from his point of view and what he may be going through and how he may have felt. But through communication, which is what we do best, we talk about everything, and we have each other's back. and we support each other. We work through it, figure out what the best solution is. And he explained to me that how difficult it is already with two, and he worried that the third one may be that way. I try to tell him that chances are maybe not, because it's the third child and the risks are less. And here we are with the third child actually being a blessing in disguise, because he's changed a lot about my second son. It's like he came here to help my second son. It's amazing the things that my second child can do because of the youngest one. It's amazing. He used to run away all the time, every chance he got. Like the fire department and police department, they know us. But the baby started walking early too, around 10 months or so. And when he would try to sneak out the yard, I would notice the baby following him. Every time he tried to go somewhere, the baby following him. So he would come back. And that's how it stopped. Because my husband had to do all this, how the houses are in Jamaica. You put the bolts on the back and you slide the wood across so you can't get in. That's how our doors look. That's how our doors had to look. And I have a fear of fire and stuff like that. So I had to live with that fear to keep my son safe, because we've had so many incidences where he got out when you think he's eating or resting, and he jumped through the window and he's gone. He's on the highway. You're getting phone calls. The police found him here and there. So, everything came together. We're working it out. And that's our dynamic. We talk about it. We figure it out what our next step should be. And that's how we go through. And that's how we get through, is with each other. I couldn't do it without him. Definitely. I'll give him his flowers today.
Wow. So, Raina, thank you for stopping by. One of our guests says that it's tough and that's commendable. I have to take a moment and just to say thank you to your husband, because he sounds like he's your rock.
Definitely.
And given the complexity of all that you're dealing with, and he still manages to be the buffer, to be the mediator with everything. I have to say thank you to Mr. Smith, wherever you are. A big shout out to you. And may God continue to bless you to be this amazing man that you are modeling for your sons. Thank you so much. All right, so back to you now, Miss Sue. I think just sitting here, I feel inspired, and I'm leaning more into gratitude, because, like I said before, you are unstoppable. And it's not because you've not had those challenging moments,
Right.
it's because you never allowed it to define you. I also noticed that you were the recipient of the 100 Women of Color Awards. Despite everything that's going on, do tell.
Yes, everything just started happening all at once. I was like pleasantly surprised. And you want to know what's funny? That email was sitting in my spam box. So I just opt up on it. It was sitting in my spam box for like a month. So I barely made the deadline to say, yes, I accept the nomination. So they do 100 men of color also. So it's an organization that recognizes men and women of color that impacts people, whether it's through business, entrepreneurship, art, anything like that. And they give back, the organization give back to young men and women of color through scholarships and any means like that. They give to like breast cancer, cervical cancer research. So it's a great, I'm excited about it. I'm definitely excited about it to be recognized for it. And it is actually my husband that did the write-up to get me nominated. It was him. It was him. So yes, it was pleasantly surprised. He thought, whatever I'm doing, trying to help to build awareness, and the book was coming out and everything, he just thought, I'm deserving of it. And for that, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh my God, your husband is a gem.
Yes.
And, when we talk about relationships and marriage and kids, yesterday I had a conversation and with an individual, and this individual was sharing the lack of attention he was receiving from his significant other. and how that created such a tension in the relationship, right? And now to hear you talk so highly and how invested
Mhm.
your husband is, I can't help but ask, how is it that you guys got to this place? Because I know it didn't happen overnight. It took work. What
It
was
took work.
what was your
And that's the
ingredient?
thing. And that's what I think is happening a lot. People give up so easy. Nothing is going to be easy. Relationships are going to come with obstacles, problems, everything like that. Nothing, we've had our problems. We work through it. The kids keep us grounded. We communicate. We're big on communication. We talk about everything. We laugh about everything. We laugh through stuff. Let me tell you, my son could just have a meltdown and we'll find something to laugh about that situation. We will laugh about it. We've been through a lot of downs more than ups. And we've known each other now for almost 23 years. I've known my husband for a long time. We dated for a while. We did it backwards. We had the kids, bought the house, then the marriage. Of course, he'll say because it's my fault. Yeah, but um, he will. That man proposed a few times, and I kept saying no. I just knew that time was gonna be the last time, so I said yes the last time. But he's great. But definitely communication. We've been to groups where, like SEPTA groups with other autistic parents, autism parents, and they're all women. My husband is the only one there, and they just gravitate to him. And then the stories you hear how the husbands have left, the men left because the pressure was too much for them. And it's so gratifying for them when they see my husband in these meetings and they talk. And it's sad to hear those stories. Like at that moment that you need that person the most, they walk out on a situation, and it is sad, but it happens a lot. I hear it all the time.
Sounds as if I should have had your husband here today on this
Let me
interview, right?
tell you.
But I think it's just like really a blessing because we see it happen so much, so often that
Yeah.
women, we are stuck
Hmm.
trying to work through
Right.
all of this on our own.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess it's just really a blessing in
Yeah.
disguise. So kudos to both of you. And it seems as if like you're a headstrong woman as well,
Yeah, he would definitely tell you that. I think
and you
that's
don't
his
back down.
favorite thing to tell. Yeah, that's it. That's the first words he used. You don't
Oh my,
take telling, he would say.
it's probably a good thing after all, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
it's probably a good thing after all. So I think what I want to get from you, any words of support or comfort that you would like to share with a new mother finding out that her child is on the spectrum, what
Mhm.
advice or recommendation would you give to this individual?
I would say don't blame yourself. Um, you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. When you're feeling helpless, hopeless, when you're struggling, because you're going to struggle. You're going to have moments where you're going to feel like you want to lock yourself in the bathroom and cry. Cry it out. Do it. Just do it. Cry it out. But, you're not alone. There's resources. Get yourself involved with other parents, other autism parents. Find resources, whether it's through your pediatrician. Here in Connecticut, you could go on ct.gov. You could go on asrc.org. There's information out there. There's help out there. There's a lot of resources out there. You just got to do the groundwork and just advocate for your child. And please don't forget to take care of you, because if you don't take care of you, you can't help that child. But you're not alone. There's help out there. Just reach out. There's somebody to help you wipe those tears. There's somebody to tell you their way of doing something. You may have been doing it that way and it doesn't work for your child. Try it my way. It might work. So you're not alone. I wish somebody would have told me that at first. You're not alone. There's help. Call me. So yeah, you're not alone. Lean on every support system you have, whether it's your family, and don't be afraid to speak up. I'm guilty of this. I would just expect them to feel like I need a break. I expect them to, oh, come take my kids. No, you have to speak up, let people know how you felt. I went through postpartum depression after the second one. And at first I didn't know what was going on. And then when I learned what was going on, that was hard to deal with a child on the spectrum, then a new one on the spectrum. Then I was dealing with depression, but I faced it head on, and I asked for help. I let them know I need help. My husband was there. He helped me through it. So there's support. Find that support system and use it. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Definitely don't be ashamed. Just know that you're not alone.
Love it, love it. So you are never alone. Ask for help and remember to take care of yourself. Tell
Mhm.
me some of the things you actually do to take care of yourself because we haven't even delved into you also have full-time jobs and you're doing so much, right? Because you're
Right.
currently, for viewers who don't know, this woman is so dedicated. She took her lunchtime at work to be doing this interview. So do tell us how you take
Yeah.
care of yourself.
I didn't always take care of myself. It was always the kids. The kids need this, the kids this, the kids that. Because you'll find that when you start advocating and you're trying to get help for these kids, you're gonna be in therapy, not just relying on what the school system provide. I'm gonna go out there. So I'm at the autism center a few times a week. I'm at this place for ABA, and wherever the service is, I'm there. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see if it helps. So I'm busy, busy, busy all the time. I don't really have downtime like that, but I've come to the point where, oh, and then my husband pushes it too. He'll say, you got to take care of you. So I have my pampering every Friday. The nails are going to get done, but I'm going to have massages here and there. I'm going to get some quiet time. I need quiet time. I'm going to read a book. I find time for me, no matter how simple it is, even if it's this week, I'm going to watch 2 movies. I'm going to watch those movies. It's just doing those little things for yourself that you would normally do for yourself. So you feel good about yourself, even if it's just doing your hair, whether it's you doing it or somebody doing it for you, dressing up nice, take yourself out on a date, go have lunch with yourself, go shopping by yourself, buy yourself something, and don't come home with a children place bag. Buy yourself something, because I'm so guilty for that. I'll come home with a Macy's bag and 10 children's place bag. No, find time for you. It's very important. I find that when you feel good, it helps you to be better to help everybody else. So I've been trying to find time for me a little bit, even if it's an hour a week. It's still something.
Ah, that
Definitely.
is powerful. I teach a parenting class, and that's one thing I say to my parents. You have to put yourself first.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, society allows you to feel pressured as if it has to be about the kids. If
Hmm.
there is no Sue, who's going to take care of the kids?
Exactly.
So you
That
got to
is
put
so
the
true.
mask on yourself first. Always
Hmm.
remember that. So, my dear Sue, you're relentless. You don't stop. Talk to me about your company.
Well, my company started. I've had this idea for a while that I wanted to do something for autism, like sell pieces. During it wasn't even during the pandemic. I hurt myself when I was pregnant with my last son. I broke my foot. I was walking. I wasn't able to walk unassisted for years. I've had 2 surgery on my right foot, and so that ran right into the pandemic. So I was home. I was home for 5 straight years, not working, not being able to be too mobile or anything. So I would jot ideas down and stuff I would want to do. And then I just got up one day and said, you know what? I'm gonna see if this name is available. Because when I thought of Gifted One, my husband already has that umbrella Gifted One because he's a DJ also. So he has Gifted One Entertainment. He DJs and does lighting and stuff like that. Gifted One came about because of the kids. So I wanted to stay under that Gifted One. So I was like Princess because I'm thinking of the boys, and it was available. And I said, all right, what next? I got a logo done. I said, look at me.
Mhm.
You couldn't tell me nothing when I got my logo done. I was like, yes, honey, what am I going to do now? So I started getting designs made that's in my head that I wanted to see on t-shirts. Like most of my t-shirts are saying things that occurs around us in our daily lives and things that my son might not be able to say, but he's thinking it. So, it's just blurbs of things that are around me all the time. And finally got the website done, and I didn't even plan the launch like almost 3 years ago. I just got up one morning and said, you know what, I'm doing it today. I just went live and said, okay, I have a store. And yeah, some people were offended in my family. I'm like, I didn't tell anybody, literally. I just got up and said, today was the day, and I did it. And I do that a lot, actually. But that's how it came about, and that's how it's been. And it's been, it's been doing good. It's been doing good. And it's serving its purpose, people that wants to be inspired, or I get a lot of feedback from others, a lot of emails, and people that just need encouraging words, and they'll email me, and I'm thinking they're asking me about a product, and no, no, honey, they just want to know what you would do in this situation. And I find pleasure in helping somebody. I find pleasure in being able to offer my help and say, try this, see if this will work for you. So it's been great. It's really been great.
Thank you, Paul, for saying that. He says this is a great interview. Of course, you're amazing, Sue.
Thank
Um,
you,
Sometimes folks don't understand when you move in silence and you have the solitude, it allows you to hear exactly what's going on around you.
Right.
I love to say to people, your gift and your superpowers are yours and yours alone. No one else will ever understand it.
Right.
Sometimes when you're walking in your purpose, you're often misunderstood. But again, it's okay because that's your gift that you're going to
Right.
walk in. God gave that to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be okay with that and not worry about what others have to say. And you could tell that's who you are anyway, because
Mm-hmm.
you're just a trailblazer. You are just going through.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. You're saying that you had a broken leg and you were
Oh
home
yeah.
for 5 years. You went
Yeah.
through postpartum depression. You have two
Mm-hmm.
kids on the autism spectrum. And it makes me wonder, what is the excuse that others have? Because here
Right.
you are, regardless of what, you are just propelling and moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on your Facebook the other day, you had an incident at Burlington Coat Factory with your son.
Right.
When I read your post, I was filled with so much rage. I was disappointed. I was hurt and just really saddened, if you ask.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell our viewers about what happened?
Yeah. So I went to Burlington to return stuff. I had an event, so of course you're buying a lot of things that you may or may not use. So I picked the Monday because I figured the store may be empty. Not a lot of people would be there because I had my two younger sons with me, and I had to think about them, and how he'd be if it's too crowded in the store. I went in there and I'm like, oh man, on a Monday the line is long. The checkout line is long, and I'm like, okay, I don't get much time, so I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna wait around. Immediately, he did what he would normally do. He went to the back of the store where they have the toys. That's where he stays when I'm in that store. But at all times, I have eyes on him. I could see him from the register because they have the open slots up by the register, and I could just see him straight back at the store. And so I see him pacing back and forth. This day he didn't even have a toy. Normally he would have a toy in his hand and he listens, like those little phone toys that maybe a 3-year-old may use just to listen to the sounds that come from it. But he didn't even have that. He was just walking back and forth while my 5-year-old and I stood in the line and waited. So I got up to the front. It's my turn now. It's only two cashiers. And the cashier's, taking my return. She's now up to I had three. She's on number three now. And I see she didn't even say, excuse me. She just walked off and she went to talk to a police officer. I noticed walking into the store, and I heard her say, yes, he's back there. And she took off her, what do you call that? Radio, walkie talkie radio, whatever it is. And she radioed something to somebody in the back of the store. And while she's walking to me, something clicked in my head, and I said, excuse me, miss, did you guys call the cops on a kid that's back there wearing a red, I said, a red hoodie? She said, I don't know what he's wearing. And immediately I saw the cop walk in. I just left everything at the register and I ran to the back of the store. And I got back there. I saw the cop, and I see my son now standing scared by the little boy section where the little boy clothes are. And he's just standing there scared. So there's a cop, there's the lady working there, the sales clerk or whatever her position is. She's standing there, and I said to her, what happened? Why did you call the police? She said to me, he wasn't responded. He wasn't answering me what his name was. And I said, so you called the cops for that? Why didn't you come on an overhead speaker and announce if somebody's missing a child or anything like that? Not once did you come on a speaker. I don't think the best solution would have been to call the police. That's not what you do. And, the cop said to me, I was just explaining that. And I said, I'm sorry, officer, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to your badge, but I need answers. I need her to answer me. Tell me, please, why you called. You're not giving me an answer. That's not an answer. I said, why didn't you go on the radio, on the overhead speaker and say something? So she had attitude. She didn't want to hear. I tried to explain to her, well, he's nonverbal. He doesn't talk. He's autistic. Had you come on the speaker, I would have come back here. In her defense, she said anybody could have came back there and said it's their child. I said, you're right. And that's when you would have called 911 so the police can help to identify if these two connect. Is this the mom? Is this the son? And I said, my son is wearing a bracelet. Had you done that, I could have come back here and said to you, he has a bracelet on that says I'm nonverbal. I have autism. My allergies are so and so and so. My mom number is this. My dad number is this. You could have called that number on his bracelet and you would have saw my phone ring. You would have made a connection. So I said to her, watch this. And I called my son by name and he walked over to me and I hugged him. I said, he didn't come to you because he didn't know you. Had it been another parent that come back here, he wouldn't have gone to them because he don't know them. So he's scared and I'm looking at her and she just don't want to hear. She don't want to hear anything I have to say. So I took my son and, I went and I got the rest of my things. I got outside. I'm like, oh, wow, whole bunch of cops waiting. So, I'm glad the way they came, though, no sirens. And the cop was very nice. He was very nice. He spoke to me outside, but it was how Burlington handled it. They didn't handle it well. And she didn't want to be educated. I tried to explain to her what was wrong, how she could have handled it, and how it could have been. I said, what if it was a different cop that came in here and he was having a bad day and he started yelling at my son? My son had a meltdown. He starts knocking stuff off, throwing clothes to the floor. Then they try to restrain him. I said, are you following me now? Do you know how ugly this could have gotten? I said, this could have gotten pretty ugly and you're refusing to hear. So I wrote a letter. I wrote several letters to Burlington headquarters and everything. I spoke to them twice, but it's more like they're calling me back to in a dismissive sense. Like they want to blame my son that he was in the wrong part of the store, and that's not true. The video clip they said they saw, that's not true. So I'm still waiting now so I can see this video clip. I got to go to the police station and for them to get the video so I can see it because I know they're lying. I don't even know where shipping and receiving is in that store, but yet he was in shipping and receiving, and I could see him walking back and forth the whole time. So you're not calling me to take accountability. You're not calling me because, yes, your staff need to be trained properly because this could happen to anybody, and it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be autism. It could be anything else. But you're not willing to hear that. You're not willing to talk about that. You're just trying to clear your name and try to blame me. It took 15 minutes into the conversation for her to say, I'm sorry. It wasn't even, she didn't even mean, it was just like throwing words out there. And I said to her, this is not good enough. You should have led this conversation with, on behalf of me and Burlington, we extend our apologies. I said, no, you came right in telling me about a video, but you can't tell me how my son looked. You can't tell me what he was wearing. You can't tell me how the lady looked that was in there, nor the cop, or anything about the store. But you saw a video, ma'am, you're belittling me. That's what you're doing. And I said, it doesn't stop here. You'll be hearing back from me again because this is not good enough. So she claims she's going to have another meeting with the leadership team. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah.
Wow. And that's exactly how we started this conversation about the lack of knowledge and folks not wanting to know and understand, because I could have seen this on the news and it could have gone other way, left really easily. Again, more power to you, and just keep on being an advocate for your children. And I think this is like a perfect segue for us to talk about your lovely book, right? So why don't you tell us about Different But Special? I think this is a good time for us to show, like let the viewers like really see what we're actually talking about here.
Yes, Different But Special. Again, one of those things that happened while I was healing and during the pandemic. I wrote a lot. So this is just one one of a few books that I've written. I always said I wanted to, publish a book, write a book, but it never was about something like this. This was pre-kids. So it was about my life, things that happened to me, a whole different topic. But then I got drawn to this and I said, you know what? Maybe telling my story in a non-fictional way and to children, just teaching them how to be kind and how to be accepting of others that aren't like them, start teaching them from now and it will grow with them. And that was my whole idea. When I first submitted my manuscript, oh man, did they answer me quickly with a I am sorry. This is not ready. It was basically telling me, I'm sorry, this is not ready. I didn't feel hurt. I read through what they said and things I needed to fix, but I did nothing about it. I just took that I'm sorry and that door closed in my face. And about a year later, I just got up and decided I'm going to do it again. So I went back to the drawing board, fixed everything they said that was wrong. And, if it's going to be a series of book, how am I going to introduce this as my introductory book? And I did it and I sent it off again. They responded that same day, but I was scared to open the email. So it sat there. It sat there for like 2 days. I told my husband, they answered quick again. And then finally, I opened it, the email. You can see all your emails, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, there's no hint in the title, in the subject line, nothing. Okay. Finally, I clicked on it when I'm at work, and it said, "We are pleased." Let me tell you, I didn't read nothing else.
That's a
I went right to my husband. We are pleased. I said, "Man, they took it." He said, "How do you know?" I said, "This started with we are pleased." Like the other one said, I am. The other one said, "We are sorry." This one said, "We are pleased." What could come after "we are pleased"? So I was like, I think I got it. Then I'm like, you're right. Let me read the rest of it. And they were like, "We are pleased to let you know that yes, we're on board for this." And they love the subject matter. They liked how the delivery, and I had a great editor, the illustrator. I had like 30 illustrator to choose from, and I connected with this one because I could tell he read the book and he depicted every little thing that I expected to see. Like he went above and beyond. And, we worked through the contract and I wanted to make sure this book is mine. It's not ours, it's mine. So I made sure I had all the rights to my book and, all those I's dotted, T's crossed. And it's been received well. I've been reading at some of the schools, the classroom, and the kids love it. And they've been giving me ideas for the next books, and I keep getting asked, when is the next one coming out? When is the next one coming out? I'm like, soon, but it feels good that it's being received even by kids as young as like 4, and I guess it's doing better than I expected or thought it would be doing. So I am a little proud of it.
Oh, you should be a lot proud of it. I am so proud of you. Like I've read it and I'm gonna get some copies as well because like I share like in my line of work, I meet parents who struggle with their kids who are autistic, right?
Right,
And I think there is so much power in your story. And even sitting here listening to you, just how positive you are despite of what's going on. Because
right.
you make it seem so easy.
Easy,
Like, no,
right?
it's perfect here. But
Right,
that's the attitude you have to have, right? Because if
right,
you sit
right.
around and worry about everything that's stressing you, the
Hmm.
stress is not going to go anywhere and it's just going to
Nope.
deplete you as an individual.
Right.
And you know what? You don't want that. So kudos to you. Keep pushing. And for viewers, this is a story, a powerful story. This woman has 2 kids with autism. She suffered from postpartum depression. She had a broken leg. She was out of work for 5 years. And look at her. She is the CEO of her online boutique. She is an author. And you didn't tell the folks what you did in your job. Why don't you take this opportunity to do that?
I'm a registered polysomnographer. That's big for saying I'm a sleep technician. So basically, that's what I do. I've been in the field for about 17 years. So basically, I do sleep studies to find out what is going on. I treat sleep disorders like sleep apnea. That's something that's being more knowledge is being, more understanding is coming about that, because we're finding younger and younger people now are having sleep apnea where you stop breathing in your sleep and your heart's affected, everything's affected, and people are seeking treatment now. So that's pretty much what we do. You're hooked up to a lot of wires and you go to sleep, and I watch what's going on all night. And if we need to intervene and treat you, whether it's via oxygen or you need that CPAP machine to get you going. So yeah, that is my career.
Thank you for
Something I need more of.
Thank you for being such a blessing in this world. What other nuggets and words of wisdom would you like to leave with our viewers tonight?
I just want to, when I look ahead, I see myself like just providing more. I want to be a part of that, whatever that group is that help to just educate, uh, help people to look into all the differences that's in the world. Even if you don't want to accept all the differences, just try to understand, be kind, and just understand that everybody's not going to be the same. And compassion and kindness goes a long way. I mean, you never know what you do to somebody. I remember when my son was about 4, we were in Home Depot, and there's this guy, no, it was Lowe's, and he was getting hose or whatever he was getting. And my son just took off from us and went and hugged this man. And he came over with tears in his eyes and he said to me, "You don't know what your son just saved me from. You don't know what he did for me." And we just stood there like, really? And that day just it just left a print on me, like, you never know what somebody is going through. You never know what it is. Being kind and just trying to understand, is it goes a long way. It really goes a long way.
I think that's one of the biggest thing that's missing in our society today. People showing genuine kindness just for no reason,
Right.
just because that's what we're supposed to do, right?
Mhm.
But thank you so much for that reminder just now. And finish the statement. Sue is
Going places. No, Sue is ambitious, self-driven, motivated by life experiences, motivated by her children, inspired by society as a whole. And Sue wants to make an impact. I want to impact lives. I want to make it better. I want to do my part. I feel like I finally found my purpose and trying to live in it. So Sue is here, dedicated and ready for whatever task God put on me. I'm ready.
And you're already doing it, my darling. Thank you so much for your time, number one. And thank you for being such an advocate and for being a voice, not only for your children, but for all these kids we have out in the world. Because it's just surprising to know the number of kids who are on the spectrum and a lot of parents who don't realize their kids are on the spectrum. So tonight, I would encourage anyone who is listening and will probably view this later. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Get out of your head. Go and seek help for your kids now before it's too late. Kids
Early intervention is key.
Yes. And kids on the spectrum, they can live a normal life with the right supports and the right resources. Don't allow stigma. Don't allow shame or what anyone else has to say. But Sue, again, I appreciate you. I applaud you. Thank you for impacting my life. And thank you for impacting the world. You are just getting started. And I can't wait to see where you're going to be headed. And thanks to that husband of yours. May you have an amazing rest of your night on purpose. And to all my viewers, thank you. I'll see you all next week, Tuesday, same place, same time. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.